Hello guys, we have some interesting news from Chaos. VRAY 7 for Rhino came out recently. There are a lot of interesting new features, and in this video I'm going to show you some of my favorite features of VRAY 7 for Rhino. Let's go. Okay, so this first feature I want to show you is very interesting. You know, when you have, for example, a lot of grass and a lot of grass elements in your scene, in this case, you can see here I have a lot of elements and you can see how they're kind of overlapping, right? They're overlapping with the edge. So before you couldn't actually solve this, you had to manually somehow modify this area. But let me show you what happens. When I render this, if I click here on the detail and I go to VRAY, if I click render, you're going to notice here that when my rendering starts, you can see how I'm getting these elements here. All of these small plants are actually covering the concrete, and that's not something that is realistic, of course. So now we have a really cool feature that can solve that problem. And this feature is called edge trimming. So what edge trimming does, it simply allows you to activate it, and then you'll not have this problem anymore. So let me just show you what happens when you activate this. So this is how the image looked like before. And now if you go to render settings here, and this setting is actually under the scatter object. So it's not here in the options, it's inside of your scatter object. And your scatter object in this case are these objects where we distributed a lot of these plants, right? So when you go to the elements here and you click on your scatter object, in our case, this is this one. When you go below here under surface scattering, you have the option of edge trimming. So now let's turn this option on and let's simply go back to the same angle and let's click on the render button to see the result. Okay, and here's the result. And let me just show you if we turn the history on and we can compare them. So this is going to be A and this is going to be B. And you can see here the difference, right? So it's obvious that edge trimming does all of this work for us. So great feature, and I recommend everybody start using it. The next feature I wanted to show you here is called scatter camera clipping. That means that, for example, if you have a camera angle that's, for example, going from, let's say this was my camera and it was going like this, right? So what this feature does, it actually allows you to calculate only the scatter objects which are within this element, right? So anything that is outside of it, it's not going to calculate. And this means that the render times are going to be better. If this is your camera angle, you have the option to extend this by a couple of degrees. So if you put, let's say 2 degrees, it's going to extend like this. If you put a little bit more, it's going to extend more. So the more degrees you put, this means that you're growing your lens. And when I click here, you'll see here that I have the option to extend view. And this means that if I increase this, it means that this angle is going to grow, right? So usually you don't want to put this too much because there's no need. I have found from my example that from 2 to 5 degrees is enough. Now I'm going to show you a couple of tests so you can see the differences in the render times. So the first thing, of course, we're going to turn this off and we're going to go back to our angle and we're going to start from here. This is going to be our base rendering. And now let's render this to see what's going to be the result. Now this is going to start rendering and I'm going to tell you when this finishes how much time it took. Okay, so I'm going to open up my history here and I'm going to save this angle. And you're going to see that this took us 1 minute and 90 seconds. And now I'm going to do the same thing, but I'm going to modify this option. So I'm going to change the scatter. I'm going to go to the scatter object and I'm going to turn on camera clipping and I'm simply going to bring it back to 0. So now when I bring this back to 0, it means that it's going to clip everything right as my camera is going through it. So when I click here, now let's see what the result is going to be. Okay, and here is the second image. So this one took 1 minute and 16 seconds. So now I'm going to compare them. Like it's not too big of a deal, A and B. And you can see here that we have some sort of small clipping here. You can see here on the bottom of the screen. So it actually clipped a little bit of the bottom area here, but we saved up a couple of seconds. Of course, this is not huge. It's just like 3 seconds. But if you have a huge scene, this is going to make a difference. So what I found to be the best option would be just to increase this slightly. So instead of having 0, you can extend the view just to have like 2 degrees. You're not going to have this clipping here. So let me just render this again and show you the result. Okay, so there we go. The last one took 1 minute, 19.2 seconds. Compared with the first one we did, it's not a huge deal. But the difference is that here you're not seeing that clipped area. So again, you'll not notice a huge difference here, but when you're dealing with huge scenes with a lot of scatter objects, this really can make a difference. This next feature is going to save you definitely a lot of time with VRAY assets. So what this does, when you go to Chaos Cosmos, you'll see that you're going to have a lot of different models that have different types of asset variants. So what does this mean? Let's say that, you want to have different types of models. You want to have the winter tree, then you want to have a summer tree. And instead of searching for that particular tree, now some of these assets actually have that inside of them. So let's go, for example, 3D models, and let's go to the vegetation, and let's go to trees. In here, when you go to the trees, you'll notice that when you click, let me just find some of them. So for example, this guy, you can see here how this paper birch spring tree has two small icons next to it. So you see that now when you hover over it, you'll see how this tree becomes a spring tree, and here how it becomes autumn tree, right? Also, not all of them have this, but most of these assets now have this feature. And what this means is that you can easily switch between those trees. So how does this work? So let me just bring one of these trees in the scene. Let me just try, for example, this one. And I'm going to click on it. I'm going to click import, and I'm going to simply place it, let's say here, right? And let me just go back. Let's bring it to the actual grass element here, and we're going to move this one away like this. Okay, let's go back. So now, when I render this, it's going to have its regular look. It's going to be green like this. So if I simply start to render, it's going to look green, right? But how do we modify it? So if you want to modify it, here you have variants, and then you have a geometry variant. Now this is like a summer variant, which means that it's going to be green. So all you need to do here is to modify it from summer to autumn, and it's going to update in your viewport. And now once I start to render this, we're going to notice that we're going to have a different variant here. You can see here that now all of these trees are different, and that's because I actually used that same variant in the scene already. And you can see here how this tree also became yellow, and this tree that we also created became yellow. So when you have a tree in the scene that has this feature, you're going to see that it's quite easy to modify them. Now let me show you what happens when you don't have this tree inside. This is also something that you'll encounter. So I'm going to go back, and I'm going to take some tree that I didn't download before to kind of show you what you'll have as a blank option. So let's start with this one. Okay, this one, I'm going to download it, and I'm going to import it in the model because I wanted to show you what happens when you import it without downloading it first, right? So now I downloaded the regular version, and you'll see here once download goes up, I'm going to have this check mark, and I can simply click here, and I can position this tree, let's say here. Okay. It's kind of big. So let me just move it a little bit. Let's position it here. Okay. Now, the next thing would be that I want to, of course, test it out. Here, when I see it, it means that it's green. If I render it, you're going to see that it's going to be green, right? So that's the default state. Now, if I want to modify it, if I simply modify it to autumn version, you'll notice that it's not loaded here. And this means that you need to click on this download button. Once you download it, this means that you're downloading to your hard drive this other version of the tree, the other variant. And once it is downloaded to 100%, then you can simply click on the refresh, and that's gonna modify it. Okay, so here it is. Now I click on the refresh, and you can see that now it's yellow. Once I click this, once I try to render, you're gonna notice that now we have a different tree here. All right, and there we go. You can see that we have a tree with a different look. So now imagine you have many different trees in the scene you want to quickly modify. This is what asset variants would allow you to do. So this next feature is something that I wish that VRAY for Rhino had so many years ago, but now it's finally here. And this is called custom render region. This means that, for example, if I want to re-render just one part of the image, let's say I just want to re-render this part where I see my building, right? I don't need to re-render the whole thing. That's what I can do now with this option. It's called polygon render region. Before I do that, I just want to modify my material just slightly. So I'm going to go to the materials, and I'm going to see if I can modify this slightly so we can modify the color. So instead of black, let's use something different. Let's use something like this, just to kind of get an idea of what the building is going to look like. So I'm going to click here. Keep in mind that I'm inside of the VRAY frame buffer. If you don't know where this is, when you open up VRAY like this, it's going to be this icon here. And this is going to open up VRAY frame buffer. If you haven't rendered anything before, you'll see the blank canvas here. So you need to render one image first. And then you can use this. You can simply click here, polygon render region. And I'm simply going to click and I'm going to say to VRAY, just render this part of the image. I don't need anything else. And now once it is selected, I'm going to click again to render. And now you'll notice that only this part of the image is going to render. And you can see when I zoom in that we're having slightly different color of this material. It's not a huge difference, but you can see here, for example, it's slightly more yellowish than this black option. So this is what you can do to kind of test out your materials real quick. And it's going to allow you to see how that effect is going to have on the surrounding area as well. So hope that you'll find this useful. It's an extremely good asset for me. And just one last thing, when you finish this, let's say now you want to render the whole image, you simply need to go back here and need to click again. And now this turns it off. When you click render again, it's going to render the whole frame. Okay, so now this next feature is super cool. I'm super excited about it. It's called material override in presets. So you probably know when you're setting up your scene, you want to first kind of get a feel for the light. You want to get a feel for the transparency of your materials inside of the scene. And before, you only had one option. You could only create one override material that's going to override the whole scene. Now, when you go here and when you go to the material override, you're going to have a couple of more options. So when you click on material override, you'll see that we have a couple of different modes, right? So the first one is we have color, of course, regular color. Then we have material. This is the one that we used to have before. Then we have white, Arctic, clay, dark clay, plastic, and wood. So all of these are super cool, super nice, depending on what you're going for. So now I'm going to show you how that works. With the color, of course, you simply need to modify the actual color of the override material. This was possible before. So when you click here and you click on render, it's gonna override the whole scene and it's gonna start rendering everything in that color. This is again super cool if you wanna test out the lighting, if you wanna test out the materials, and this is what you would get at the end. All right, so here's the one. This is the color one. I'm going to save it just in case so we can compare with everything we did. And you can see that we can also see the lighting, we can see the shadows. And the good thing about these material overrides is that you can see in your scene there is a lot of shadow. And if you want to modify the shadows, if you want to modify the orientation of the sun and so on, that's what we're using it for. Now I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to modify now from color to material. And now this means that we can add certain material, right? So in this case, I can simply say gray or glass or green. So let's go with this gray one and I'm just double check. Gray is actually this material here. So this is not going to be anything new. It's going to be pretty much the same result as the one with the color. But now in this case, you have the gray material. Let's render to see the result. All right, so here's the result with the gray material. Now let's go to the next option, which is going to be white. So again, this is going to be similar thing to the color. So I'm expecting the same results. And now let's try to see what this would do. Okay, so this one worked. And as you can see here, it's slightly different than the previous one. So let me just compare these two. This is going to be A and this is going to be B. And you can see here, let's bring it like this. Okay, so the difference is that this one took almost double the time, 2 minutes 34 seconds. This one took 1 minute 17 seconds. And the difference is that the second one has slightly bigger shadows. So this tells me that I would rather use the initial one. I would rather use color than this one that says white. Now let's see the other ones. Let's click on Arctic and let's see how it looks. So here's the Arctic. It rendered the longest 2 minutes 51 seconds. And the difference here is that it has some kind of bluish tint to it for some reason. I don't know why, but this is the result. Now I'm gonna switch and I'm gonna do the clay and let's see this one. And this is the clay mode. If you guys ever used 3ds Max, you probably know that they have something similar called clay mode. And you can see that it looks quite similar. I really like that it still keeps the sky blue. It keeps everything. The lighting is also really nice. And if you see, it took actually quite less the time than the previous one. So this was Arctic, 2 minutes 51 seconds. This was 1 minute 34 seconds, even less. And now let's see dark clay. Here's the dark one. So this is dark clay. And let me show you, this one is a little bit even faster. So this one was 1 minute 24 seconds. So the main difference is that, of course, this is lighter and this is darker, and that's it. Now let's try the plastic one, and let's click render to see this result. Okay, so this is the plastic, and I think it looks quite similar to the one we did at the beginning with the white. And the last one we're going to do is gonna be this one called wood, and let's see that result. All right, and here's the last one. This is the wood style, and you can see here it took 1 minute 41 seconds. So if I would to test this, I would definitely go with either this one, so the red, the regular clay, wood, and maybe I would also test the white color, because this is the most neutral one that I would test, because this one would be enough for me to determine if I need to increase the lighting, decrease it, and so on. And before we finish, I just wanted to share what's happening at How to Rhino Premium Group right now. This week, we published a mini course on how to build your first plugin for Rhino using AI tools. If you join us in February, you're still going to be able to watch this mini course and also our workshop we had last week with Omar Kadra from Zaha Hadid for just $25 a month. Keep in mind that we have only 4 spots available for this price because we're reaching the limit. And after that, we're going to increase the price for $35 per month. If you want to check it out, hurry up, click the link below, and I'll see you inside.